My name's Kyle, and I've been coming to HDC since I was about 8 or 9 years old. I grew up in the church. I had a great influence through my parents, and we came to church every weekend. We were involved in youth group and things like that, but oftentimes at home, that influence wasn't as heavily shown to me as it was, say, on Sunday. And so as I grew up, I kind of went down my own path. When I was in high school, I got into partying pretty hard. Still coming to church when I had the opportunity, but definitely not living that godly life. So as I got older, partying continued, which led me down other paths which continued to get me in trouble, and ultimately led to this huge problem that I ended up having in my life. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that throughout this whole time, my brother is a true prayer warrior. And he was in a small group with a bunch of people. Him and my sister-in-law have been in it for a really long time. And they had actually been praying for me for a very long time, that I would just find the way. And, I think my brother knew that I had God in my sights all along, but I just wasn't jumping onto that path that I needed to jump onto. And so he knew that, through prayer and things like that, that hopefully I would one day end up on that path that he wanted me on. I met my wife, and she was a godly woman, and but even in that instance, we still just weren't on that path we needed to be on. And at the beginning of this year, 2017, some pretty major things happened in our life which required us to make some major shifts. Really allowed me to grow closer to my brother and my wife to grow closer to my sister-in-law. And it was at that time that we actually had found out that the small group had been praying for us. It wasn't just my brother, that it was a small group that had been praying, and they weren't just praying for like a short amount of time. It had been a year that they had been praying for us. God had been showing us these little signs all along, but we hadn't been paying attention. And when we joined this small group, the first night, I remember we're like, do you want us to tell your story? They're like, oh no, don't even worry about it. We already know it. We've known it for a year, and we've never even met these people before. So that was really all due to my brother and my sister-in-law, who, like I said, this whole time have just been by our side, and we really weren't grasping onto it or following him, but he never gave up. And I think that that's where our oikos story really began. Looking back on the whole situation and how long it took for my brother to reach us, I think it's very important to understand that this process does not happen overnight. It's not a process that is even going to take a week, 2 weeks. I mean, it took my brother numerous years to reach out. And though at times it can be frustrating and sometimes just heartbreaking, that moment that I saw my brother, I got baptized on Easter, and I think at that moment when I saw that my brother saw me get baptized, that it made that year, 2 years, 3 years completely worth it. Recognizing who your own oikos is and having that support system is only going to make those prayers that much stronger, because at that moment when you feel weak, when you feel like this person is not reachable, when you feel like, when you're just at your lowest point, feeling like you are not making a difference at all, having those people surrounding you, having your oikos surrounding you is really what's going to get you through those moments.